Don't let that guy you call the boss interfere with your entertainment. Chaotic Radio, chaoticradio.com.
You're listening to Power Jams Talk Derby Radio.
You are listening to Power Jams Talk Derby Radio on Chaotic Radio. I am Drunky. I hope everybody is having a good night. I would like to remind you that our show is powered by Empire Skate Shop. You can visit them in store at 226 North 2nd Street in Upland, California, 91786, or shop their website at empireskateshop.com. Don't forget to use the discount code PowerJams10 to receive your 10% discount. If you have any questions, Amy would love to talk to you. Give her a call at 909-294-6396. A huge thank you to Amy and Tom. Without them, we would not be able to make this show possible. As always, we would like to hear from you, the listener. So call in with your questions that you may have at 909-360-8330. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can comment with any questions you might have. Hi, Rachel.
Hey,
how are you?
What's up, Drunky?
I'm so nervous. I haven't done this for like a whole week, and I'm on this like super high, like adrenaline high right now. Right. So I have to like shake it out and like calm myself down. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay.
Enjoy it. It only lasts for a few minutes,
I know.
And then you'll be right back.
I'll be drunk in a little bit, and then I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Yes. So, has anything happened that may be special?
Oh, yeah. I got engaged.
You did!
Thank you.
The prickly bear popped the question.
He totally did. And it was so like, it was funny because he kept joking. He kept like, he jokes with me like this.
Yeah.
You know, he'll go, oh, I'm going to go pick up the ring today. I'm going to go pick up the ring. And he said it so many times. I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
And so anyways, I should have figured it out because he was actually late picking me up last week, Friday.
Oh, I wasn't here.
Yeah. So it was like right after Dutchie's show, he was supposed to be here. And he didn't get here until after your show would have ended.
Oh.
And then he was like, oh, let's take a walk on the beach. And I'm still not putting two and two together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'd love to walk on the beach. So we go and do that, and we walk out on the rocks near Redondo, near the pier.
Oh.
And he gets down on his knee, and he's like, you know, I really love you. I want to take this relationship to the next level.
How cute.
I know, and I was still not believing
You're like,
it.
okay, we can move in together.
Yeah, right. He had the box, and I still thought he was joking. I was like,
how far can he take this?
Exactly. I was like, seriously? Yes. And it was great.
For the people listening, I call Rachel's now fiance the prickly bear because he's always he comes and picks you up from the station, and he's always got kind of a grumpy face on. And so, you know, I'm always scared to talk to him because he's a little prickly. So I call him the prickly bear. But the week before, I actually got a smile out of him one day. And I was like, I've broke the seal. I'm so excited. Yeah. I was so happy. Well, congratulations. That's super awesome news. I am an officiant. I also go by the name Rev Drunky. So if you need an officiant, I am available.
Oh, that's really rad.
It's so absurd. It's the most absurd thing. I have the weirdest life. It's so awesome. So, well, congratulations. And when the prickly bear gets here, I'll give him a big hug. So
nice.
So also, I would like to welcome back my very lovely and funny. I had to read that. Do you see that? I had to remember what I said about you. My very lovely and funny co-host, Mama BeatHer.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, no, I like having you in here. You like call me out on my shit, and like we do.
All bullshit.
We have fun. We have fun. So tonight we are going to be talking about the RollerCon hangover. Before I had left for RollerCon, I heard whispers of this phenomenon, but didn't truly understand what it meant. And maybe you can kind of co-sign on that from your first RollerCon. I thought it was something that maybe you dealt with from a week of drinking. So I made sure to take Spacey Lord's advice and bring plenty of water and I felt that I was prepared. I bought 4 cases of water, and I was like, I'm good to go. I'm ready. So little did I know, though, that was only a fraction of what I would have to deal with. I might be.
How much water did you bring back, though?
2 cases.
Okay, yeah. That should have been gone.
So I took 11 cases of 36 packs of beer and a bottle of vodka, and we came back with half a bottle of vodka and 2 cases of beer.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Not for you.
No, for me and my husband.
I figured
yeah.
you guys would have had to do like an emergency run or something.
No, we did fine.
Yeah.
We had beer the whole time. But yeah, so I definitely was not ready to come back to the real world. I had to put pants back on, which I wasn't used to wearing after a week of there. The friendships that I made in the short time, they all now have to be virtual until next year. And not to mention the withdrawals I'm now facing of seeing these amazing, like, A+ skaters just walking next to me. Like, no big deal. Like, just, gazelles walking. Oh, hey, look, there goes another one, So I do want to take the time to say thank you to everyone that came up to me and said hi or took pictures with me. When I first started the show, I was really nervous. Who the hell was I? And why would anyone want to listen to me and my show? I'm sure that might still be the case, but that did something to my little derby heart to know that people took the time to come and say hi. And a very special thank you to Spacey and Luann. And so just thank you, everyone that came up and said hi. And, to all those skaters that let me do drunken Facebook Live videos. And I apologize if I blew up everybody's news feed with all of this amazingness.
Well, and I feel special because I got to record some of these videos for you. So I got to hobnob with the celebs like you did.
So next year you get a media pass.
I will record everything. You don't even have to worry. I'll just be like, I'm on it, Drunky.
Well, and I have to say, if Legs is listening, I have to say thank you. When I submitted my media application, I was like, there's no way this is going to happen. There's no way. And I didn't get an email back. It was an overlook or whatever. And so I tried one more time, and I went up to the little registration thing asking for my media pass, and they slapped that cute little green sticker with a handwritten M on it. And I thought I was the coolest kid in the world. I'm like, I get to hang out with people. I was so excited. I was like, there's no way. This is my actual life. It was super overwhelming. It was awesome. So
I feel like your first year usually is. You're starstruck and you're in awe, and then you have a couple days of that, and then you're like, oh, okay.
No, I still was till the very end.
Well, I am still too, so I can't really.
Driving home, I'm like, oh, there goes a RollerCon car. I knew exactly who was going on. So I want to say we have an amazing show tonight. We have the guys from Cheeseballs calling in. We have an interview with DJ Lady Scratch. She really wanted to call in and be able to actually talk to us, but she had a previous engagement because she's a busy lady. So, but we'll definitely get her in here one day. We also will have a few other callers calling in, but those are surprises. So you got to stay tuned in to see who's calling in. Not to mention though, if you're watching on the YouTube app, if you're listening on the Kaotic app, make sure to turn into the YouTube app right now, because we are premiering the newest Hit Squad TV highlight reel.
I'm excited. Everything they did in RollerCon was fabulous. I love the music they put.
I don't know. They were releasing stuff during RollerCon.
I swear they have 4 cameras, but you literally see the one guy out there.
It's Ivy and Lloyd.
And her husband,
they're the ones doing it the whole time. They're hustling.
I saw them get married at RollerCon last year, as a matter of fact.
So the video that we're going to be premiering is the All-Star East versus West bout that you could only see here. The link to the YouTube channel should be up on the Power Jams Talk Derby Radio Facebook page. So if you're listening on the app or on chaoticradio.com, make sure that you switch over to the YouTube channel because that is going to be playing here pretty soon. We're going to be getting the guys from Cheeseballs here on the phone in just a minute. While we do that, Mama, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many beers would you give your RollerCon experience this year?
This year, I'd say I give it a good solid 7, just because this is my
beers?
3rd year.
Yeah.
9 was probably my greatest year ever, but then I feel like I'm learning the swing of things. I'm learning how to take better classes, what classes suit me, stuff like that.
Yeah. I didn't take any classes.
This year kind of turned into my first year all over again. But
I kept you drunk.
Not necessarily that, but just a lot of walking. If you skate or take any classes, it's exhausting. Somebody in the elevator was like, "Oh, you have fun on your vacation," and I'm like, "This is not a vacation. This is like a week-long practice,
right?
Depending on how dedicated you are to taking so many classes." And I saw some people ask, like, what is a good, how many a day?
I saw that. Yeah, how many
And
classes?
I think individually as a skater, it depends. Like, how active are you? Are you skating once a week, twice a week? Because you can probably kill yourself. I know my derby wife was having a hard time walking third day in, I guess, from all the classes she took. And, I'm just like, I'm not down for wanting to kill myself all week. So, I save most of the strenuous stuff for the end.
Yeah. Well, my problem was I wasn't going to bed till 5 o'clock in the morning.
That doesn't help either.
There was no way I was going to go to a class. I literally, I went with the, I went knowing that I was going to,
just party a lot.
Yeah, I was just going to party. Rachel, what are you saying? 2-minute break?
No, I'm sorry. I was saying that I messaged you.
Oh, you text me.
Yeah. So there was like a couple of questions.
Oh, okay. So I guess we're going to take a 2-minute break real quick. Is that what you're saying? No. Oh, no, you messaged me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Miscommunication.
We got to get a thing that says like check your messenger or something.
Yeah, see, I'm not quick on this. It's my first beer. I swear. I'll get those guys so that we could talk to them real quick.
Okay.
Zach, if you are listening, I apparently wrote down your phone number wrong. So later on in the show, though, if you are interested in calling in and talking to us about your RollerCon experience, we would love to hear from you. Oh, Senor Poo Poo.
I saw him on the track.
Week-long practices. Yay.
His name is one name that stood out to me so much. Right?
So if you want to give us a call, you could give us a call at 909-360-8330. So get Zach or Rachel, get Scott on the phone and maybe...
Sure. Yeah, he's already on the phone.
Can you ask him what Zach's phone number is? Because I apparently wrote it down incorrectly.
Okay.
Cool. All right, cool. All right. Thanks. So anyways, I literally was going to sleep at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
And I think even if you're not doing RollerCon, it's just Vegas in general.
Right.
I mean, you don't know what
I haven't been to
time it is.
Vegas since I was 20.
See, I mean, you don't know what time it is. You can't see the sun 90% of the time unless you're going outside. It's just, you lose track of time. I'm not one person to stay up usually past midnight, but...
Chuck A. So Chuck A says that he's just finished with the second to the last album. Drunky, say hi to my baby. Who's your baby?
Who's the baby?
I need to know who the baby is. We, like I said, I literally I went to Vegas with 11 cases of beer and a bottle of vodka, and my only determination was to talk to as many people as I possibly could and be drunk.
Did you feel like you did that, though?
Yeah, I accomplished that.
That was your check off then. Next year, you'll have different goals, just like,
No, next year I want to go drunk and talk to more people.
Well, I know, like, every year I try to step it up from the year to be, prior. Yeah. Like I said, I went as a spectator, did all the classes I could off skates, and then decided I needed to be on skates every year after that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we've got the comments over here blowing up. Thank you, everybody, for watching and checking this out and commenting. And this is awesome. You say hi to my baby. Wait, hold on. Oh, I may have been a little drunk. Maybe just a little.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, no, and that was the crazy thing. Like, as much as I was drinking, I felt that I maintained until the black and blue ball.
What party was this?
I was just like, and it wasn't even so much the drinking. It was just the sheer excitement and the sheer, I was overwhelmed by all the awesomeness that I was seeing. Everyone who it has a part in putting on RollerCon, they do a phenomenal job.
Yes, they do.
Getting all the volunteers, all the dicks put together, and just making sure that everybody's taken care of, and the vendor area and all the bouts held there, on time. Again,
I can't imagine how many people it takes to actually produce RollerCon. You know what I mean? 'Cause like you said, you have to have somebody that's getting all the medics, all the, getting all the bouts situated. So
I mean, I stress over throwing just about.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
That's what I'm saying. Like we do one and it stresses us out. But like when you have to set up 4 or 5 tracks and a bank track and,
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
That's why they get their days before all the skaters do. And we do appreciate all their hard work because without them, we would have nowhere to skate.
Oh, I saw a baby. I thought they were talking about like, hey, my baby, like my girl. No, I saw a baby. I was so excited to see a little tiny baby there. Oh, yeah, I did say a baby. Hi, babies.
This was the first year they opened it up to children. So I saw a lot more kids this year.
Well, a couple of the babies that were there were RollerCon babies.
Oh, from last year, yes.
I could only imagine. That must be, it's like
I have to have somebody call in if they ended up getting pregnant at this one.
You know what? Yeah, if you're listening right now and you have a RollerCon baby, I call in and say hi and let us know, or share a picture of your RollerCon baby on the Power Jams Talk Derby radio page. So what would be for you, Mama? What would be the highlight of RollerCon?
Same thing as every year. Hanging out with my friends. I mean, it's so different off the track, so it's kind of nice to get to know people on a personal level. Stuff like that. Meet people I will never in my life dream of meeting.
Right.
So, and just finding out how real everybody is. It's, as we look at them as like celebrities, they're normal people. And I love being able just to sit and be like, yes, you are normal. And, they don't walk around with these big old heads like I'm a superstar.
I mean, maybe a couple do.
Maybe. Yeah.
I did, I guess.
I would too. I'm sitting there across the moto booth from Isabel Ringer from San Diego. And I'm like, custom skates? Yeah, when I'm like, maybe. Like,
dude, one of the last nights we were sitting down at the bar and Isabella was down there. You. And I was just having, like, I was so drunk. I like almost forgot that she was kind of maybe a little drunkies too. But I had a full-on conversation with her, and she's one of my SoCal Derby moms. There's a secret Facebook group of all of these Derby moms that are in there.
I need to get on this.
And you have to be invited. Maybe I could.
How many kids I gotta have? No.
A couple. But no, she was like the nicest person in the world to take the time to talk to little old me. And,
at 3 o'clock in the morning.
At 3 o'clock in the morning. Right. Yeah. She was awesome. So, Rachel, do we have the. Oh, yeah. She vanished. Well, we'll keep going. Is there anything you wished you had done that maybe you didn't get a chance to do?
I'm definitely gonna get to the line a lot sooner next time because there was some classes.
No, you know what though? Because I didn't really do much. Right, Miss Media. No, it took me 2 hours to get through that line. So either I should have gotten there way earlier or just later that afternoon.
And they give you a specific time, like they don't want you 2 hours in advance, but it's.
Oh, the lines for the classes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I got most of the classes I got to, it was like 2 people ahead of me, and they were like, "Okay, we're tapped out," and I'm just like,
"Fuck."
I don't take classes. I don't feel like I'm gonna get anything from. I'm not a jammer, so I usually don't take jammer classes. So I don't know. Definitely gonna have to plan my schedule a little bit better.
Yeah.
Maybe have backup plans for classes that don't pan out.
Oh.
But I didn't even
try.
I watched honestly, a lot of games this year.
Yeah. I mean, that was my focus. I wanted to watch all the games.
I mean, I would say last year it was kind of. I took a couple classes. I took went and saw a couple bouts, but this year I watched a lot more bouts. And then hung out with my friends. I mean,
yeah, we hung out a lot.
Yeah, we did.
I've never hung out with you so much in my life. Do we have the Cheeseballs guys on, Rachel? Are they ready to go?
We do.
Yay! Awesome. So we have Zach and Scott on the phone from Cheeseballs. These guys, Cheeseballs bearings. If you were watching the show, I think it was the show prior to last week, we had Monkey Mess on here. Cheeseballs is one of her sponsors, and these guys are super rad. Let's see if I can figure this out again. It's been a little while, so there's the phone, and unplug it. Hey, there we go. Do we got Zach and Scott on the phone?
We have Scott. Unfortunately, Zach just dropped, so I have to call him back.
Okay. Oh, Scott's here, or Zach's here rather.
Oh, Zach and Scott?
Oh, no. So Scott. I lost Scott.
We'll figure out one. It's Zach. Yay. Hi, Zach. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, not bad at all. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So, while we figure out how to get Scott back on the phone here, tell us a little bit about the Cheeseballs and how you guys got started.
Oh, man. Well, I'd say back late 2008, I started hanging around the Jacksonville Roller Girls at the time, now Jacksonville Roller Derby. Started reffing in early 2009, and right around 2011, I started thinking of different business opportunities in the derby community, and wanted to get into some kind of gear production, and noticed that there was a lot of different people, a lot of different options for boots, plates, wheels, everything else, but there weren't a whole lot of options for bearings. There were a lot of options, but they all tended to be fairly similar. So that's pretty much where it started. Went out, found some wholesale bearings, and went from there.
So do we have Scott on the phone now? You said
Yes.
So Scott, hi, are you there? No, Scott.
Hello.
We'll figure this out.
Oh,
Hello.
Oh,
No.
Scott.
Yes.
Yay, Scott's there. Scott and Zach at the same time, right?
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Yay! So Scott, we were talking to Zach about how you guys got started. So let's keep going on from there about how getting those business opportunities there.
Okay. Well, Zach was in the process of developing the bearings, but he didn't necessarily know people outside of Jacksonville. And I had made friends through watching Derby and being on chat rooms and things like that. And I was like, hey, I know some people that I could contact. And he was like, well, could you? And I'm like, sure. So I started messaging people and said, we have this product that we're trying to see if it's actually any good, if it would be worth bringing to market. Would you be willing to try it out? And they were like, sure. Somebody offering us some free stuff to try? Send it on. So I ended up sending some to Los Angeles, to Stockholm, to Rose, to Rat, Texas, just all over. And so we spent months of people testing different designs and everything else. And eventually we came out with the original 3 bearings, which were the cheddar, the Gouda, and the Swiss.
I love that. You guys call it all cheese. So for the listeners out there, Zach, your derby name is Zacharoni and Cheese, correct?
Correct.
And
yep.
that's how you guys came up with the Cheeseballs, right?
Exactly. It seemed to slot in really nicely, especially when our top level bearings were the Swisses.
Right.
So it just kind of it was too perfect to walk away from.
It was just one of those like perfect storms that just kind of happened.
Exactly.
So when I was talking to you guys, you were telling me about the initial, developing of the product or whatever, and you guys realized when you first got that first set of bearings, they weren't quite up to par for what you wanted to put out there. Give everybody a little bit of an idea of what happened with that and the love and labor that you guys have with these bearings.
Well, I can answer that one. Well, basically, we were in the very early stages of getting started. We had decided to move forward with the products, and we put in our initial bulk order, our first large order to get the wholesale price that we needed. And when we got our Goudas in, initially the plan was to do what everybody else did, was get your branded product shipped over, put your sticker on it or put it in your box and then send it on and call it a day. But when we got these bearings, we started immediately getting some back saying, hey, there's something wrong with them. They're just not rolling right. There's just, they're no good. So after about a week of kind of digging around and doing some research online, tearing apart bearings after bearings, we discovered that the bearings came from the factory dirty. They had manufacturing debris left in there, sandblasting material, metal shaving, stuff like that. And we essentially had 3,000 bearings that were sealed and tubed and ready to go that needed to be completely disassembled with both seals removed and cleaned, oiled, and put back together. Or else we had a product that we couldn't sell.
Right. Ooh, I got a playback there. Oh, so, and that's the thing I want to say about your guys' product is some of the bearings that most derby people purchase, it's a single seal. You guys they're double sealed, and that thank you.
I know. I need to get me some. I need to get me some because I skate outdoors, and I know that I had a conversation with him last year at RollerCon, and I first thing I never heard of Cheeseballs.
Right.
First time was last year.
Right.
So I definitely need to look into getting me some.
Well,
I'm tired of cleaning my bearings.
They were very generous and gave me a set of bearings, and I tried those out. Because I had that little green sticker that I told you about.
You skate outside also, so you know. I mean,
skate. That's and this is why I'm so appreciative of the double seal is because my team does skate outside. And I do have that dirt and everything that comes in. And when I was talking to Zach, he was saying that you don't need to clean these bearings for a year. Like you could go a full year without having. And
I've skated where you skate, so we know that at least every 2-3 months at max,
dude,
you have to
every
clean
couple
your
of weeks,
bearings. Yeah,
legit, every couple of weeks I have to clean my bearings. So to know that.
Oh no, we had a sponsored skater at the time at Bay Area, and they have what's rumored to be the dustiest place in the universe to practice on.
Oh yeah,
or practice in. And she sent us a photo, and the outside of her wheel was just caked. I mean, just caked with dirt and dust and just crap. And I'm like, oh my God, they weren't lying. That's horrible.
Yeah.
And after this person wiped it off and then popped the seal, the inside of the bearing was completely spotless.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
not one bit was in there. And even at
Still had the
RollerCon this
original
year,
oil in it.
somebody was having trouble with their wheels. And I said, well, I'll take a look at it and see what's going on. They had single shielded wheels. Outside, just kind of wipe off a little dirt or whatever. And when I pulled one of the bearings off on the inside between the two bearings, you could see dirt on the back side of the bearing and gunk and stuff that was getting into the bearing. And that was with bearings on both sides of your wheels. You think everything's fine. And I took a picture of it and put it on Facebook and said, hey, I didn't identify the bearing. I didn't have my glasses on where I could even read the name of the bearing on there. I'm having to do the stretch thing where it's like, I'm old. I need reading glasses. I'm old.
Right.
But I took a photo of it, and you could see on our Facebook page what this looks like, where you have single shielded bearings, and people go, well, I don't need shields on both sides. How's dirt going to get in there? And then here's a photo.
Yeah.
Right there, just a random skater that was at RollerCon who leaves there, doesn't take them, on off all the time, but dirt got in there.
Well, and I want to take it back for a minute. Tell us about the initial shock of having to. You guys told me that you hand clean all of your bearings, the ones that you get in from your manufacturer. You guys actually hand clean all of your bearings before you go back and seal them and send them off on their way.
Yeah. So basically, what we did was we realized early on that after that initial batch, we sucked it up. Scott and I sat there and hand de-sealed all 3,000 of the bearings that we had, pulled them all apart. I went out and bought a ultrasonic cleaner, and when we got them all done, we put them back together. It took us, I don't even know how long. It must have been a couple weeks by the time it was said and done. And we put those exact same bearings back out that everyone came out and said were garbage, and nothing but rave reviews since then. So we realized right then that the key to success wasn't necessarily where you bought them, but how they were prepared. So we've since contracted one manufacturer, so we have good control over the product that's coming into us.
Right.
And we also, it's a multi-step process. We do a hot water rinse, a bunch of time in the ultrasonic cleaner, another hot water rinse. We then heat them up to about 250, 300 degrees to get the races to expand. And then we spread them out over a screen and blow compressed air through them to get rid of every last little bit of debris. And then every single bearing is oiled and sealed and inspected and spun by hand by Scott. Credit where credit is due. I do all the washing. He does all that. I mean, he seals them, every single one. And so every bearing that goes into your box is a known good bearing from us.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. This isn't a factory that's producing these. This isn't like an assembly line of like multiple people doing this. This is Scott. He sits there. Like, obviously now you get these shipped without the covers on them, so he doesn't have to sit there and pop them all off. And any derby person that is listening that has had to clean their bearings knows the pain in the ass to pop those covers off. So, you know, Scott sits there and hand cleans all of these 100% and like spins them and he makes sure that these bearings are taken care of before they go in that box. You know,
yeah, it's true. And honestly, before RollerCon, we did 60 sets of the cheddars, and there was a junior game that morning. Well, due to various things coming up, I didn't get started till 11:30 Friday night before leaving for RollerCon. I didn't finish till 7:30, 7:45 in the morning. Then had to go to the junior game here in Jacksonville. And by the time I got there, I'm like, I haven't had sleep for like 21 hours. I needed to switch these out for one of the juniors. Here you go. I'm going home to go to bed. And they're like, why? Why don't you stick around for things? Like, because I'm going to fall asleep during the game. I'm so tired.
Right.
But it took 8 hours to do
bearings.
it.
Yeah, and I've told you guys both this, that I appreciate just the fact that I know that this is something that you guys, it's a labor of love for both of you, and I mean, this is kind of the roller derby mantra. It's for derby by derby. Like, these guys started out as a ref, and Scott is a coach, and they understand the needs for roller derby. So this is a roller derby owned company. And I know for myself, if I hear that when I'm purchasing product or items or whatever, if you're a roller derby company, if you're somebody who knows the sport, I'll buy your stuff. If something maybe is a little bit cheaper down the street or whatever, but you're not a derby company, I will go to the derby company just because I want to support our community.
Yeah, and they know the kind of damage we do to our materials and all our equipment and stuff. So, where would somebody go if they wanted to order Cheeseballs? Because I'm over here like, give me somewhere to.
You could always go to EmpireSkateShop.com and buy some Cheeseballs, and make sure to use the Power Jams 10 discount code to get your 10% discount. But Zach and Scott, the Cheeseballs, they do have Facebook and Instagram and all that fun stuff. So if one of you guys want to give out that information.
Yes,
I was about to say we're easily found on Facebook. Just put in Cheeseballs skate bearings, and our Facebook page will pop up, and that's where we put posts and information about what things we're going to, information about our skaters, or sometimes silly events or we'll retweet things that our friends are doing and say, hey, we'll share it to our page so it gets a little more attention. But that would probably be the best place to find out a little more about what's going on.
Right.
Plus, obviously, you could go to our website and look up things there about the bearings.
Hey, Zach, real quick, I know we talked about this a little bit when we talked the other day. Just tell us what would make the average derby person want to buy Cheeseballs over the quote unquote other bearing companies out there?
You're asking me for my sales pitch. Well, here you go. Basically, our bearings were fully developed with nothing but derby in mind. Most other bearings were selected from other companies, like from other applications, and inserted into the derby world. And the seals are kind of a classic example of that. When you're putting in a set of bearings and a set of wheels and not removing those wheels and changing them out like non-speed, artistic skaters or anything else, not having that seal inside isn't as critical because you're not changing your wheels for different surfaces as much. I know I'm going to have a bunch of artistic skaters chewing my butt later on for saying that, but you see what I mean. And derby players change their wheels so much that crud accumulates in between the bearings. So, that's just an example of how our bearings are, specifically designed for derby, from the double seals to the black anti-corrosion coating that come on all of our bearings that are prone to corrosion. Our heavy use of ceramics, from anything above our cheddar is a ceramic. And even with our cheddar, we run a full bronze cage inside of it instead of a nylon retainer. That's because bronze doesn't rust, it oxidizes. And when you're talking about cheaper bearings, they're generally used outside. They're thrown in gear bags. They tend to live in moist, wet environments and are very prone to rusting. So you get the added stability of a full cage, and with the resistance to seizing that is inherent with the properties with bronze.
Right.
So
we have a listener. They just commented. Klutzy Keister over here. She says she's asking, what is the difference in between the Swiss and Gouda and the cheddar?
Okay, so the cheddar is our entry-level bearing. That's a standard steel ball bearing with a chrome steel ball with a chrome steel race and a bronze cage, double sealed and coated with the races are coated with the black anti-corrosion coating. Our Goudas are our entry-level ceramic. They feature the pressed zirconium fiber ceramic that you find in high-end kitchen knives, the white ceramic kitchen knives that you see on TV. That's a pressed fiber ceramic. It's pressed into a ball, standard chrome steel race with a nylon retainer and the double seals. Our Swisses are one of our, I'm not going to say inventions because the materials have been available, but we're the first ones to bring it to Derby, which is the Swisses have a 440 stainless steel race with a silicon nitride ceramic ball and a nylon retainer, which means that the entire assembly is non-corrosive. You could actually run the bearing without any oil or corrosion preventative on it, and it would run for years without any oil whatsoever, well, until it broke down. So that's the run. We do also have some pepper jacks that we've been slowly nursing to market. Those are more geared towards really hardcore speed skaters. We're also kind of promoting them for downhill longboarders, and obviously Derby's an excellent application for them as well. They actually have a carbon steel races with the silicon nitride ceramic and a 440 stainless steel cage.
Oh,
so
sounds wonderful.
Yeah. So I got kind of down in the weeds there, but the materials are mainly what makes the difference between our bearings and others.
Right.
Now, I do have to throw in one thing here. The cheddars and the pepper jacks you mentioned at the end, they only come in 8mm. So if you do have the roll line plate, the Bont Infinity plate, or you switched your trucks out from what's the most popular 8mm to 7mm trucks, you would have to get either the Gouda or the Swiss.
That's good
because
information
those are the
to
two
know.
that also come in 7mm.
Yeah. I don't know.
Me neither.
Basically, if you have a Rydell plate or a sure grip plate or any of the standard, quote unquote, standard plates,
right?
They're 8mm. The ones I mentioned are specifically 7mm.
Oh, okay.
So those are the ones. It used to be just the roll line. If somebody came up and said, "Well, I've got 7mm plates," like, "Oh, you got a roll line," because they were the ones only doing it. But then Bond started making some that were also 7mm. But if you have the Arias plate from Rydell, it's a 8mm. If you have the Falcon or the Pilot plate from Adam, it's 8mm. So basically 95% of the market of the skaters out there have 8mm trucks.
So when
so they can buy any of them. But if you have the 7, you're kind of limited a little bit to the Gouda or the Swiss.
Which don't sound like a bad thing.
Right?
Yeah.
No, if you're going to spend that kind of money, because they're not cheap plates.
Right.
Generally, you're not going to put cheap bearings on your...
You would hope
on
not.
your bearing, on your skates, yeah.
You would hope not. So when we were talking earlier, we were saying that you don't have to clean these bearings for a year. When you do go to clean these bearings, kind of walk us through the process. Like, what would you recommend as far as like an oil product and how to go about doing this?
You want me to get that, Scott, or do you want it?
Yeah, I'll let you do that, because when I heard oil product, I could just I just knew in the back of your mind, like, don't say oil.
No, we've already had this. We had this private conversation, but no, I mean, for obviously for myself or whatever, next year when I go to clean these, I'm going to mark it on my calendar and be like, clean your bearings. But you know, Zach and I had that conversation about the different types of oils that would be a preference to oil these bearings.
So I'm going to preface all of this by saying everyone has different methods for cleaning their bearings. And like we discussed before, I generally don't give advice unless asked, because people are very passionate about their preferred method of cleaning their bearings, and it inevitably turns into a big discussion.
But do not use an organic product. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yes, I will. I can make some assertions, and others will let you make your own decisions. But in essence, I always advocate if you have the money or the access to an ultrasonic cleaner, that's the best way to go. I also recommend using a biodegradable degreaser or another water-based degreasing product, not dishwashing liquid, because if you don't manage to get all the soap off, it will start kicking in the corrosion. People cringe when I advise using a water-based product, but there's a reason for it. If you use gasoline, if you use any petroleum-based product, mineral spirits, anything like that, there's no way to completely rinse out the solvent from the bearing assembly. So you can blow on it, you can hit it with compressed air, you can do whatever you want, but there's still going to be some solvent residue inside the assembly.
I'm guilty of the mineral spirits. I'm totally guilty of that.
Well, it's conventional wisdom. That's what everybody tells you to use. The problem is lighter oils and solvents break down heavier oils. So if you've got even the slightest amount of residue inside that bearing assembly, the moment you put a drop of oil in it and spin it, that solvent, the residual solvent is beginning to work to break down the oil that you just put in. The benefit of using hot water and water-based degreaser is when you have when that bearing comes out of the rinse and you heat it up, it's virgin metal with absolutely all traces of oil removed from it. And when you add the oil to it, most oils, skate oils, have a penetrating compound in them. So you can almost see it creeping across the metal as you put it on that bare, clean, warm surface.
You guys should have a bearing cleaning class next year at
Amen
RollerCon,
to that.
right? I don't think people. I don't understand. I honestly, I don't think people understand the importance of the different methods of cleaning your bearings and stuff.
When I first started derby, my son thought he would be so sweet. He's a skateboarder. He thought he'd clean my bearings, and he seized up my bearings for me.
Well, and this is something that when I was talking to Zach the other day, he was saying, like, even the bearings, we won't mention names, but the bearings other than Cheeseballs, you know, they come dirty in the package. And the thing that he told me was that even other bearings that you buy, you need to clean them before you put them in your skate, before you put them in your wheel. This was not something that I knew. There's tiny, fine particles, and Zach could totally. He's a lot better at the verbiage of explaining it. So I'm gonna let you do it, Zach. You were explaining to me the tiny little particles that actually adhere to the bearings while they're in there.
Yeah. So if you have a bearing with a metal shaving or anything similar composition, the amount of force that's exerted on a bearing, like on the contact spot of the ball of the bearing pressing against the race, is really high. So the moment you put a contaminated bearing in a wheel and roll over it with pressure applied, you're essentially spot welding that piece of metal shaving or whatever into the race. So that's why inevitably you always have like one or two wheels that start clicking right away. It's because that metal shaving has been welded to the race and is never coming out. And as the balls skip over that spot, they're causing a flat spot right behind it. So as no matter how many times you clean it, no matter what you do, that click is probably never going to go away.
So just at practice on Tuesday, Mama Beater's derby wife is very guilty of this. She was rolling, and I heard that and I was like, "That's your bearing." I now know what Zach was talking about. Like, it was that real world, like, oh my, that's what that freaking. Because I've had that sound before, where I'll sit there and clean them like 15 times. Like, what the F is wrong with me? And then I got to go buy a new set of bearings because you don't want to get called out as that person that has that the noisy wheel.
I do have to say there was, for a little bit, there was a company I wanted outside of the company. They had a problem with their hubs and the design of one of their wheels where it would crack. And so for a long time, they were still on the market, and people would go, "Oh, they need to clean their bearings." And I would look at the wheel like, "No, it's the hub." And they'd be like, "No, it's the bearing." I'm like, wait till they come off the floor. And I would take it apart and go, "See right here? That's where the hub's cracked. That's what's making the noise there."
Seen it all
And as
my
soon as
time in
we
Derby.
put different wheel on, it would go away. And it's like, oh, I'm like, send them back to the factory. They'll replace it.
I've never
You know,
heard of
it was the manufacturing part on their end.
Was
But
that
it was just one of those things for the longest time. I'm like, it's not the bearing, it's not the bearing, it's
was
the wheel.
that a nylon hub or an aluminum hub?
It was a nylon hub.
See,
And that's as far as I'll go with
and
with
I'm
that
sure. Well, and this is what I was going to say. Like I'm sure I'll get corrected. Everybody has their favorites, and so I will put that opinion out there. This is my favorite. I only buy aluminum hubs, and I only buy aluminum plates or metal plates because I am terrified. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a nylon hub or a nylon plate crack under somebody, and that's when you get that
Minskate.
you get that broken ankle or whatever. So I am the advocate. I'm like, only aluminum. Like I'll only use metal because I'm terrified of breaking an ankle. And I've been skating for 8 years and haven't done it yet.
Yeah, only if it's aluminum that's been cut from like a solid block though.
Right.
There used to be ones that were like cast aluminum where it was, they were old heavy metal plates, and I see somebody with those like, wow, when you switch over to a lighter plate, you're going to notice the difference because you're doing all this weightlifting while you're trying to skate. But inevitably, they would crack just because of the inherentness of the fact that it wasn't a solid piece that had been milled into a plate. It was just poured and cast, and that was it.
Yeah.
They're not on the market, I don't think.
Zach,
anymore.
I don't know if you have YouTube going as we're on this conversation, but we had somebody ask, so how do we clean our balls, Zach? Giggity.
Oh, I wish please, I hope that was Chromoly chipping in on that one.
Yeah. So when I was doing research about the Cheeseballs company, something that really stood out to me was the fact that you guys have a 5-star rating. Zach, this is something I talked to you about. Like my show, we have a 5-star rating, but it's like all my friends. Like all my friends give me a 5-star rating. So I kind of, I took a second and went and looked at those ratings, and this was like real world experiences. Like people actually had your bearings and was giving you guys a 5-star rating. So this really says something about your company and the pride that you guys take in your work. Tell us about like the commitment that you guys have to keeping this 5-star rating, because it sounds the passion that you guys have behind the bearing company. I don't think you see that in some of the bigger companies that we have available to us.
Yeah, it is really important to us. I mean, we're being a small business. We don't this isn't even our main business. We both Scott and I have day jobs. This doesn't pay the bills. And as a small business, we don't have an advertising budget per se. We have things that we're willing to spend money on to get our name out there because we know it's just a no-brainer, bang for the buck type of situation. But by and large, the majority of our advertising is word of mouth. And we run our business the old-fashioned way. We don't seek out investment. We don't promote ourselves the old-fashioned dumb way of not promoting yourself. But we really we've let it grow organically. We've just focused on providing a superior product that you can tell the difference just initially, and that's really done a lot of the heavy lifting for us. To the point where the pepper jacks that I mentioned, I didn't mention them right away because we actually, I'm going to say this on your podcast, we discovered a manufacturing defect. We had put out probably 10 to 15 sets of bearings with some seals on them. That some of them had flashing that rolled over on the inside of the seal. And it's not, you already can imagine how tedious it is, doing the sealing and doing a final spin. Well, we got caught with our pants down basically and hadn't been checking every single seal, both sides, to make sure that it was okay. And we had a return come back where we have a really good return policy, and they returned them. We cut them a check. And I got them back, and I was fully ready to blame the customer, or, thinking, oh, they must have pushed the seals in with their skate tool when they put them on, or, surely it wasn't our bearings. But sure enough, there was little bits of rubber on the inside from where the cage had started milling into the inside of the seal. So we, as painful as it was and as costly as it was, we pulled the product from RollerCon when we went there. We did not sell a single set of pepper jacks because there's a possibility that some of them may not be good.
Well, and that's something I want to say thank you about. You know, when we had the Bout Betties on the show a couple of weeks ago, that was the same thing. It was just kind of this live and learn kind of experience that they were having. But because the Bout Betties play roller derby, because you guys are involved in roller derby, you were not willing to sacrifice, like, oh, well, whatever, that's your fault, you know. I'm noticing that roller derby companies take a lot of pride in, and when I say roller derby companies, I mean like companies that are owned by roller derby and it's like kind of their main focus. They take a lot of pride in the work that they have, and it's kind of like that's their name, and this is the environment and that we have. This is our family, and we're going to take care of you guys. And so I really want to say thank you for just having that mantra of, you know, for the skater, by the skater, we're going to take care of you. We're not going to sacrifice our company. We'll just take it back and we'll fix it. And at the end of the day, that's what you guys are figuring
entirely.
out.
And during RollerCon, I had to wear that because I was the one who did the spin test. And in your hand, when I did it by hand, everything was fine. It was just when the assembly on those, because it is a stainless steel cage, heated up, it expanded just enough to make the contact that in testing, you know, or checking, it wouldn't show up. But in real world use, it was one case out of all the other ones that just happened to occur. So again, like Zach said, instead of putting it out and going, oh, well, it was just one in, you know, it'll never happen again. Pull them all, recheck them all, have it off the market for a little bit. It might cost us a few sales, but we would rather get it right than have it be wrong.
And you can hear it in Scott's voice that he like legitimately feels bad about it. You know,
yeah,
things happen sometimes.
Yeah, because we're a two-man company, and so if anything is wrong, it's either Zach or myself. There is no third person to hide behind, or, hey, I didn't get that email from so-and-so, and let me check on that, and then put it off for a couple of weeks or a few days, and like, okay, you know, whatever. No, it's us. People know us. They see us. You know, we're fairly public about everything. So if anything happens, and especially Derby is a very small community as far as good, you hear about every once in a while. Bad, you hear about all the time. So we need to stay on the side of good versus bad, because bad will stick to you very quickly.
See, and I love a company who takes pride in their craftsmanship. Like, you are there to help no matter what, you know what I mean? And I love that, because I know if I got to get something from some foreign company or whatever, you know, and it's like something goes wrong, they're just like, don't know what to tell you.
Well,
you know?
and I think that's the problem with consumership alone, is the fact that, like, if you get something good, you're just like, yeah, this is great, okay, and you move on with your life. If you get something that's bad,
you talk about it.
You talk about it to, I mean, look at Yelp. How many good reviews do you actually see on Yelp? Like, you see all the shitty reviews, you know? So, and that's why I really wanted to bring the Cheeseballs guys on here, because, you know, Monkey Mess from ACJD, this is one of her sponsors. I don't, with the level of skater that she is and that she's becoming, she would not stick with this bearing if it wasn't working for her. You know,
and somebody who comes from retail background, I appreciate fabulous word of mouth, because you know, like you just said, it's hard to get that. And when you hear it, like I've gone with people I've never even heard of because somebody talks so highly of them.
Right.
And I got the opportunity to meet these guys last year at RollerCon, and got to hear what was going on. I still haven't, and I kick myself in the butt because I am one of those skaters who do not clean my bearings, like, ever.
Yeah.
Until my skates don't skate no more. So, I mean, I am definitely going to have to look into, I wrote down all the information so I know what they all do. I'm going to look into what I need to get, and then definitely get on that, so I have some in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I need to say to Zach and Scott, you guys, I had never met you before. I just walked up to you randomly and was like, hey, I'm Drunky. What's up? And you guys, seriously, to everybody that's listening, literally two of the coolest guys I've ever met. They're so nice, and they were just kind of like, yeah, we're here. Like, they kind of, you could, I mean, they've been at RollerCon before, but you could tell that they were kind of just like, hey, we're here. We're here to have a good time and like sell our product. So I really want to say thank you guys, you know, for just kind of like dealing with me. Like,
Oh, whatever.
No problem.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely.
I had a lot of fun, and like every once in a while, I'd see him walk by. We're like, "Hey, high five!" And we just walk by each other and like, "Hey, there you are again. How's it going?" They'd get stuck
our
on
rooms were across the hall from each other, so that happened more than a few times.
Yeah, they'd get stuck on the elevator with me and like, "Hey, where are you going? You come here often?" So, I want to say thank you guys.
Yeah,
we're getting ready to head out here. Make sure that you guys tune in because we are getting ready for the world premiere of the Hit Squad TV All Stars game, the East versus West. Literally, this
Excellent
is
game.
the one and only time you will be able to get to see this video. Fortunately for us, there's certain music that we get to play, and so this video legit. I need to say thank you to Ivy and to Lloyd. I came to them kind of like hat in hand, like, hey, would you guys do me a favor? And they were all for it. So Lloyd put a lot of heart and a lot of soul into this video. So we're gonna be playing that during the break here. So we're gonna play a quick song real quick. Rachel, you listening?
Of course.
Hey, she always is. So real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to play a quick song before the video happens because I need to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to, because everybody's been drinking while watching my show, so they need to go to the bathroom and they need to grab another beer. So I'm giving you that opportunity. We're going to play a quick song, and then literally right after that song, we're going to play the Hit Squad video. And I am so stoked for this video. I watched it legit like 5 times last night before I could even respond to Lloyd about how awesome this video is. So make sure to stay tuned. This is Power Jam's Talk Derby Radio on Kaotic Radio, powered by Empire Skates. We'll see you in just a little bit. Thank you. Thanks, Scott and Zach. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks,
Talk to you
guys.
later.
Hey, Dad.
What do you want to do today?
I don't know.
Do you want to go to the matinee?
No.
Do you want to go to the amusement park?
No.
Do you want to go to the punk rock show?
Yeah, let's go to the punk rock show.
Lost in a sea of combat boots. Plus a bastard with wasted youth. When did punk rock become so safe? When did the sea become a joke? The kids who used to live for beer and speed don't want their fun to go. Crusading birds are not allowed. In fact, there's key noise level down. Must separate the church and state. Why don't we put pants on the kids? Helmets and gear and map pieces. Then we could ban the fourth and one. Put cameras inside bathrooms. We make sure only night fans work. Make every show madness. Teach kids to be all they can be. And we can sing my country tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty. When did punk rock become so safe? I know it wasn't Twain or Fletcher who put up the barricades like a stake in the heart. Somehow we got drifted apart. I want conflict, I want dissent. I want the scene to represent our hatred of authority. I fight against complacency. Stop singing songs about growth and love. rock becomes so safe.
If you can just get your mind together, then come on across to me.
What?
Singing along isn't just accepted, it's encouraged. Encouraged. Just not too loud. Thank you for your cooperation. Kaoticradio.com.
Welcome back to Power Jams Talk Derby Radio on Kaotic Radio, powered by Empire Skates. You can find them at empireskateshop.com. I want to send my sincerest thank you to Hit Squad for giving me the opportunity to premiere their video again. So I am here with my special co-host, Mama BeatHer. So, Mama, what did you think of that newest video?
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see what they get their hands on next, because it's like these guys make... I mean, these guys are good skaters, but they make the smallest of skaters look good too.
Right? Yeah, I mean, they did a video for one of my games. And I mean, everything that Lloyd and Ivy do, everything that Hit Squad does, they make it look like an A-level game. Yeah. Every single time. And I've told them, I don't know how many times we had them in on the show not too long ago. We had them on the show. That everything they do, it looks amazing, because you're used to a certain type of highlight reel, and it's like one position, and the editing's like just kind of there. Yeah. Hit Squad, they make it look like a freaking like a music video.
Yeah, they did the same thing for my league. They did a little like intro video for our bout, and it was, I mean, it looked fabulous.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're rad. So Rachel says that we have a phone call. Oh, who is that? Me. Oh, I was like, hi. Ooh, there's
hi. What are you giggling about?
There is all kinds of sound going on. I need you to roll up your window or whatever it is you're doing. You are on Power Jams with Drunky and Mama BeatHer. Who are we talking to?
This is Naughty Nelson.
Hey, what's up, Nelson? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, so for the listeners listening, I was in the lobby and just happened to be talking to some people, and we were having this conversation about, names and whatever. And you just happened to pop up on my Facebook, and you said your name. You told me, what is your Facebook? You can call me is her first name, Nelson. Don't call her anything other than Nelson. Like that's kind of how I am. So it was a huge pleasure meeting you, Nelson, and I really appreciated meeting you. So what's going on? What you got on your mind?
Well, whole lot of nothing. I'm just recovering from roller cons.
Right?
Amen,
dude. Holy crap, dude.
Legit the RollerCon hangover.
I know, yeah, but true story with my name, believe it or not. I've been Nelson since like middle school. Like I was always the tomboy of the group and whatnot, and I actually ended up inheriting Naughty Nelson in high school, and I just kept it. And I started doing roller derby, and they're like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Well, I guess I'll just keep with the same name I've always had."
There you go.
Right.
So no one even knows my first name. The only people who know my first name is my family and my boyfriend, because he refuses to call me by my last name.
Yeah, that might be weird.
He's like, that's a boy's name. I'm not calling you that. I'm like, fine, be that way.
Like, ha ha.
Right?
So Nelson, how many RollerCons was this for you then?
This is my second RollerCon.
Okay, so you're learning the RollerCon hangover as well, like what it entails. And
yes. Well, my first time in RollerCon, I bought an off-skates pass because I honestly had no idea what the hell I was doing. And then I was just so jealous, and I was like, screw this. I actually want to play and learn and take classes and whatnot. So I literally did all the stuff this time.
Yeah. So how many?
Surviving on like 3 to 4 hours of sleep, wake up, take classes. I was in like one challenge a day, and then we would go off and, drink our faces off at every single RollerCon party, and then go out on the strip and, wake up and do it all over again.
Repeat every day.
Rinse and repeat.
Literally, that was our lives. And I brought 8 girls with me. So We had a team of 8 of our roller derby team, and it was just amazing. It was the coolest thing ever, and I can't wait for next year. I mean, I'm paying for it right now.
I think it's funny. A lot of us are going through the roller derby hangover, but we're already planning next year. We're like talking about it.
Oh God, yeah.
It's kind of a thing you got to do. You got to prepare yourself and get going on again.
So Nelson, when I talked to you earlier, you said that you took a bunch of classes. What classes did you take?
I took a sponsorship class, which was awesome. That's kind of like my forte. And I got some amazing ideas of, how to bring some more people in, how to get some more sponsorships. You can't treat every single sponsorship, the same. Like, they have like the tiered sponsors. And so, treating everyone as a different sponsor. And it was just an amazing eye-opener of all the things that are possible in Derby. I took a backwards blocking class because that's the one thing that I love to do is to check women from the front.
Yeah.
And, that was really cool. I was learning some awesome new toe stop moves and how to move sideways and everything else. It was a little bit of a difficult class, though, because I went there and I was extremely hungover, and it was hard skating on that stuff. Did you take any classes while you were there?
I did not. No, I was drunk. I went with one. I went with one reason to go to Vegas and to go to RollerCon, and that was to be drunk, and I succeeded. So when you met me,
congratulations! You get a gold star.
So when you and I met, like, I was drunk. Like, I don't remember the conversation that we had. I remember meeting you because you're like, you could call me Nelson. Like, but other than that, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I met her.
Well, it sounds like she got.
Well, I saw the back of your shirt because I'm a bartender. I'm a bartender and I'm a craft beer representative. So alcohol revolves around my life.
Oh.
Mine too.
And yeah, and I saw your name on the back of your jersey, and I'm like, Drunky. I was like, that is the coolest freaking name I've ever seen. Well, like, Nelson, you should have taken that name. I was like, nah, I'm Naughty Nelson. I will be till the day I die.
Well, that's the thing that I love about roller derby names. So, for the people that know me or whatever, I will not say it. My husband does not appreciate this name whatsoever. So if you know me, you could come ask me, but I won't say it over the air. So I had an original name. My sponsor, Amy over at Empire Skates, she's the one that came up with it. And it wasn't me. It didn't stick. And then there was a second name, Asphalt, because I would always say it's my ass's fault. And I always fell. And so I was always on the asphalt. So, I was going to go with asphalt, but I was like, do I really want to hold on to that? Like, do I want to hold on to that? And then we were getting ready for the first annual Christmas party for the team that I previously skated for. And I was wasted before anybody even got there. And I was walking around
kind of girl.
I was walking around like, I be drunky. Holy shit, that's my name. I be drunky. It was just like one of those, like, it just popped. And even at the time, Amy Zahn was the one that entered I'm going to date myself here, for the ones that used to go to twoevils.org and like you have to submit your name and like wait months.
I did that
months.
too.
I did too.
So Amy actually said, "Are you sure you want to be called Drunky?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I do. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm Drunky." And so she actually, when I came up with the name Drunky, it was shortly before it was time to submit names. She did not submit my name right away until the following, because she wanted me to sit on it and like wait. And it stuck. Everybody just called me Drunky, and I've been Drunky ever since. And like it's one of those things where like I kind of have that mantra: everybody loves a drunk girl. Like,
oh God, yeah. I
don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
I think that's a great thing.
I've always been Drunky, and it's just, here's kind of like a side note of my name. I get a lot of free beer because everybody's like, "You're not drunk enough."
Oh yeah, dude, that's like the best.
That's like double.
So like when I would
I'd be drunky. Wait a minute, this girl isn't wasted. Let's buy her a beer.
Right. So like I would announce games and people would bring me beers, or at RollerCon, I literally had people shoving beers in my hand. I had a backpack full of like at least 12 beers at all times, and people would come shoving beers in my hand because they're like, "Oh, you're Drunky. Here's a beer." Like, yeah, it legit was like, thank you. I'll take it. It's a lot of fun. So Nelson, thank you so much for calling in. I really do appreciate the time that you gave me to meet with me and like talk with me and call in. And and for the people listening who didn't make it to RollerCon, this is one of those friendships that I was talking about. Like, you just happen to see somebody, you guys have that commonality of roller derby, and her and I have that commonality of alcohol. And like this is going to be a friendship now. And
Skates and drinking, man, it goes hand in hand.
Right. Until next year, it will always, we will see each other next year and hug.
Right. And I put on my roller derby page, my Derby Dames. I was like, hey guys, call in. Drunky wants to talk to us.
That's awesome.
I do. I want to talk to everybody. I mean,
I know.
I love talking to everybody. So thank you, Nelson, so much for calling in. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have fun, Drunky.
All right. Thank you. See, this is what I'm talking about. These people. I love these people. I love the roller derby people.
See, and some people I haven't even got to meet face to face until I go to RollerCon because distance is a big thing.
Well, and I'm gonna give. So I've had Erkin on the show a couple of times, right? I think she came on the show twice. She called in, and I had literally never met her in person. And you're a dick. Because
me, what did I do?
I'm gonna put it out here. So, I you know what I'm talking about. We were at the Rydell party, and there was like a bazillion people there, and I was already drunk by that point at the Rydell party, just getting drunker, and I see this girl, and if you're watching,
I do know now what you're talking about.
So there's this girl sitting on kind of the side of the dance floor with her arms crossed, kind of giving me this look, and I see this person from like the corner of my eye. I'm like, why is she staring at me? Like, what is going on? Oh my gosh. And so my husband gives me a little tap on the shoulder, and he goes, hey, look. And I look over, and it's Erkin. I like, oh my God. I like lost my shit.
Fangirl, like hardcore.
Like, well, and it wasn't just, it was a fangirl thing, but it was somebody that like, I had been following her since, and I say it everywhere, like the Erkin Goes Postal video. You could YouTube it. Erkin Goes Postal. I have seen it now. It's one of those things where like it was the skill that she had and everything that she's done for the roller derby community, and then to meet her in person, holy crap, she is one of the nicest people ever.
She was too.
And then her daughter on top of it is like one of the nicest people ever. So, so I see Erkin, give her a hug, like, oh my God, fangirl, yeah. And then you're a dick, and you're like, I'm already drunk, and you're like, are you going to cry?
Oh my God, she's going to cry. And she started crying.
You're such a dick.
I initiated the floodgates.
And I just started because I was so, like I said.
I just have never seen Drunky cry. So I was like, wait, what is this moment that is going on right now? And then I was like, are you going to cry? Like, I was more like asking a question. And next thing I know, you're like, thanks, butthole. Like,
well, because like I said, she's the most generous, kindest person in the world. And like the videos that she puts out, she really cares about the training of the skaters, because she knows like there's so many different ways to train people to skate that, she made it simple. She kissed it. Keep it simple, stupid. Yep. And I really appreciated that about her. And if she happens to be listening and wants to call in and say hi and stuff, like I wouldn't be
You're
opposed
not objective
to that. But no, she came and watched the one game that I played in, because I was like, I'm not really trying to skate a whole lot here. She sat on the sidelines and she watched my game, and it was just kind of like, are you effing kidding me right now? Like,
we sit there and watch her, and now she's watching you.
Right. So. I was like, Erkin is taking the time out of her company and because she had a booth there. She's taking the time out of her day to come watch like dumb old me, Right. And so again, like if Erkin's listening, by
Derby
some chance,
friendships are made everywhere.
I'm Derby love her. I Derby love her.
And I love all these girls that are really awesome skaters that are down to earth, because I couldn't imagine if I met somebody that, you kind of like idolize and they just were assholes, you know what I mean? Because then, I don't know. It's just like meeting a movie star for the first time. If they're jerks, you're like, well,
yeah.
Fine, screw you.
Yeah.
You know, but these people you're like, whoa, you know, you're actual nice, down to earth, loving
because they're
people
a person. I mean, imagine that. Yeah.
I mean, well, we look at them as kind of celebrities.
And Erkin was so humble. That was the thing. Like when I first, she's in my SoCal Derby Moms group, and when I first saw her pop up in that group, I like about shit myself. I'm like, I'm in the same group as her. Like she's gonna see my name somewhere, you know. And you know, she hit me up about the show, and like she wanted to come on the show. Like I never would have had the balls to like, hey,
come on over.
On my dumbass, you know, like, and she just, you know, she's so humble and she's so nice and she's so amazing. So, you know, and enough about Erkin, because if she wants to call, we'll talk about her. She's gonna watch back and be like, "You're a stalker."
Just a little.
Leave me alone. So I do want to say though, I got to talk to this chick is pretty rad. Talking about rad chicks, I mean, all Derby girls for the most part are rad chicks, but there was one particular DJ Lady Scratch.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, she was a badass.
Yeah.
She just, again, I mean, she was up on a stage and doing all the stuff for all the stuff, and like, and that's something that I appreciate about DJs is when, like, I'll put on my own song, on my iPod or whatever, and I'll have my own list for me to go out and skate and whatever, and I know the certain songs that get me going. She was my, like, living, breathing iPod. Like, she played the songs that were just like, yes, thank you.
I don't think there was a song she played I
Dude,
didn't like. I was
all
like,
of her songs were badass.
and they all seemed to go perfectly with what the moment that it was going on.
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, like I said at the top of the show, unfortunately, she wasn't able to call in, but I did do interview with her that we pre-recorded. So we are going to, Rachel, do we have that set up?
It's all ready.
All right. So you guys get to listen to kind of her thoughts of what it's like to DJ at RollerCon.
Power Jam.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. So I literally had to go hide from my children because as soon as they see me on the phone, so Mom, I need this. So I'm like dying in the heat over here.
You're fine. I've only got a few minutes anyway because I'm on break at work, but we'll be all right.
So I wrote down some questions, so they're pretty simple. Just give a little background and then we'll move on with our lives. Okay, so first question, how are you feeling after that long week of roller derby?
You would think that I'd be super exhausted, but my adrenaline was going so hard the whole time. I definitely slept the whole day I got back. I had a red eye. And I got back at 5:30 St. Louis time in the morning and slept all day. But my attitude's still riding that high. Just all the happiness and love and light and everything that happens at RollerCon. I just still kind of riding that high. So I don't quite feel as tired as I should.
Right. Yeah, I've seen a lot of positive feedback on the derby boards. Just, everybody loving the set list that you had and, just lots of positive feedback. And that's awesome.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was so cool to see someone had actually posted in RollerCon about how they wanted a copy of the Magic Mike playlist, and it just spun so quickly into, who are those DJs? Who did the playlist for this? They were all so great, and it was so humbling. And I was able to show the other DJ too, and just say, look what they're saying about us. And it was great because this is the first year we've had music at Bouts at RollerCon, and we worked really hard on it. So to get such positive feedback and know that we added another element to the event that was already so great for everyone really made us feel wonderful.
Yeah. So take it back a little bit and tell me a little about how you started DJing for roller derby.
There was a league that was the first league in Central Illinois back in 2008, I believe it was. It had their first game, and they weren't not-for-profit yet, so they were having a benefit to try to get some money together to host their second bout. And the DJ that was scheduled to play at their benefit backed out at the last minute. And I happened to know someone that was playing for the team, and I hadn't gotten to check them out yet, and I thought, this is the perfect opportunity. I can come and DJ your benefit for you, give you guys some help out, and then I can check out roller derby because it sounds really cool. And I was hooked from there. And I tried to skate a few times, but I have a chronic illness, and that's been something that has kind of hindered my ability to skate. But nobody ever asked me to come to RollerCon just to skate. Nobody ever asked me to,
Right.
to fly out somewhere to skate in D1 playoffs. Like that wouldn't have been a thing for me. So
Hold on one second. I have a helicopter coming over.
You're fine.
There's a big fire. Like I'm watching it happen, not that far from my house right now, and so there's a helicopter coming over. I'm like, oh god, that's gonna play back. Okay, so they're gone. So you ended with nobody had ever asked you to skate RollerCon or D1 or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, there's no chance that as a skater I ever would have gotten to go to D1 playoffs. I would have gone as a spectator for sure. But, I never would have gotten to do some of the opportunities that I've been able to do as a DJ. And I think the big difference between having somebody like myself or Agent Meow DJ is that our hearts are in roller derby. We just aren't playing the sport. So it adds that extra kind of we know what we're doing bit of it because we're so involved with the sport too.
Right.
So, I got my start just DJing for Derby, tried to skate it, and then ended up just being like, DJing is great because there's nobody else that does what we do.
Right.
And so Derby deserves a soundtrack, and if I can give it that, then I'll give it that.
Well, how did that transition into you DJing for RollerCon?
I did MRDA champs in 2015. I had a dear friend of mine recommend me to the Gatekeepers before I even lived in St. Louis. Because I had DJ'd at tournaments and games that he had done, and he recommended me for MRDA champs. And after MRDA champs, I met a lot of people who were highly involved with the MRDA and the WFTDA. And Rollermite actually mentioned to me at the after party, hey, they do karaoke and stuff like that. I know Trish isn't maybe feeling DJ again this year. Trish would like to have some time to party
right.
with Ivana. So I think they were looking for DJs. You should put your hat in the ring. You did a great job. And so probably a couple weeks later, the post from RollerCon came out saying they were looking for DJs this year because Trish wanted to take a break. And so I threw my hat in the ring and asked for some references. I had a couple people who, really believed in me and thought I could do it, give me good references. And Ivana gave me a shot, and here we are.
Yeah, I love the roller derby community simply for that fact. If they truly believe in you, they'll stand behind you and they'll push you forward and they'll get you to the right spots where you need to go. So like I said, on the boards, everybody was asking about the set list that you had. What was your inspiration for the different bouts?
Gosh, well, the first one I ever did was last year. Ivana allowed me to do Magic Mike and Chippendales, but it was on the fly. I had no prepared playlist, nothing like that. I just, we decided at the last minute this game deserves music, and she trusted me to do it. So this year I had a lot more prep time. So for things like Magic Mike and Chippendales, of course, I went with the classic, sexy man songs. We did Tony, but we also did Physical by Olivia Newton-John and
right.
Macho Man and stuff like that would really play to the crowd. And knowing so many of those guys, I knew certain songs would make them react the way that they would. And they did, and for things like Team Korea and Team Philippines, I don't know a lot of Korean music, and I wasn't, aware of a lot of Filipino music. And so I just reached out to friends that I had in the Derby community and said, listen, you're playing for Team Korea. What would Team Korea like to hear? And they'd send me, a list of 5 songs. Does this little list help you out? And I sprouted off of that. And the same thing with Team Philippines and Team Canada, Team Australia. What music is popular in your culture so that I can make sure you guys get the music you deserve.
Right.
So it's a really great learning experience for me as well, because I certainly wouldn't have known, I learned a lot of great Filipino artists I didn't even know existed. And I learned a lot of Korean music I didn't know existed. I learned some bands are from Canada that I didn't know were from Canada.
Right.
Just a lot of really cool things. And it's nice to be able to put that extra effort in to find out what's going to work for people and then see it come to fruition. Watching Team Philippines, when I played the first song of their bout, was super exciting for me because someone actually recorded it, put it on Instagram, and was like, no way, the DJ played Bebo. It was great because there's no way I would have known that song on my own rapport, but because I reached out and was like, hey, teach me, I learned so much, and it's been wonderful.
Right. So these playlists, really, I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, I'm sorry.
You're fine, go ahead. Now I'm pausing for your
Are these playlists available for download?
What I usually do after every major tournament is I will release a Spotify playlist of limited tracks from my set list. I don't release the whole set list because A, it's a lot of music, and B, a magician doesn't reveal her secrets. But I do appreciate how much everybody loves what I do. So I will usually drop a 50 to 100 song playlist on Spotify. There's one up there currently for Clover Cup from this year. There's one from Sibling Rivalry where it was all 90s music for that tournament. There's one up for Men's Champs from last year. And I'll do one from Sibling Rivalry this year, one from RollerCon this year, probably a couple different from RollerCon this year.
Yeah.
And I'll do one for D1 playoffs. I get so many people asking, where can we find your music? And because it's not my music, I can't sell CDs of,
Right,
of it
yeah.
like that. But I can certainly let you stream it in the order that we thought was cool. So on Spotify.
That's cool.
And that makes it more open. Mm-hmm.
So over the past years, how many times have you traveled just for Derby?
Oh gosh. We did the math, and I know I've done over 500 games in my career. I've traveled probably 5 times a year for the last 3 years. Usually about 2 or 3 of those being air travel. Other than that, I try to stay local a lot now these days, just because I do have bigger stuff going on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to travel 3 hours to do something small like I would have a long time ago, because I know next weekend I've got to fly somewhere. So I've had to kind of shorten my reach a little bit, but only so that I can broaden my reach, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. So who is your Derby crush?
Oh, geez. I had them when I first got going. I had so many Derby crushes. But the farther along I've gone, I've realized we're all just people doing something that we love as people. And so when I meet someone that I had a Derby crush on, I would realize this person is just as awkward as I am. And it's not that it makes the crush go away, but it just makes it more, I don't know, it just makes the person more real. And
Right.
so I don't get it's hard to say I don't get starstruck, because I'll certainly see somebody skate and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's amazing.
Right.
But it's not, I don't really have any mad Derby crushes right now, because I have a boyfriend, and I try to just not get crushes so that I don't.
Yeah, I'll talk to the juniors and I'll say, oh, who's your Derby hero or whatever. And I guess that's the same thing, but I get what you're saying in the sense of I'm the Derby dork that watches like every tournament that is streamed, and I know all the names, and you don't really get to see the faces unless you go search for them. So then when you hear the name and you put the face to it, then you're kind of like, oh, that's you. Hi.
I will say I was super excited at Sibling Rivalry. I made a post that said, Eagle noticed me. And then I played Fly Like an Eagle by Seal after she had a really good jam.
Yeah.
And she did notice me. And so then we talked to each other at the after party. And that's another thing I was saying. We're all very awkward. All of us are. We're all humans,
Yeah.
So I met her at the after party, and in my brain I was like, you're talking to Gold Eagle. But
But at the end of the day, she's just a person.
Just
yeah.
Eagle,
Yeah.
I ran into her at RollerCon, and we were like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Hey, good. How you been? And it's just like seeing a regular friend on the street now. And I think that's why Derby crushes don't end up as huge as me as they used to be, just because I make myself introduce myself to people I want to meet, just so I can kind of feel like they're people. They're just people.
So last question. If someone wants to have you DJ one of their bouts, so I'm going to have to change this question a little bit because you kind of answered it already. So the question originally was, if someone wants to have you DJ their bout, how can they get a hold of you? But basically throw out your Instagram, throw out your Facebook, whatever information you have for like the bigger tournaments or anybody in your local area.
Well, if anybody is interested in having me come visit them to DJ, they can get a hold of me on Facebook. I do have a Lady Scratch page on Facebook, so if you just search Lady Scratch, I'll pop right up. And then I have an Instagram as well. It's Lady_Scratch, pretty easy to find. And then on Twitter, I'm at DJ Lady Scratch. So I tried to keep everything fairly simple. But pretty easy to get a hold of. If you for some reason couldn't find me, you can definitely contact somebody on the Gatekeepers or Arch Rival Roller Derby from here in St. Louis, and they'd be able to get you in touch with me too.
Cool. All right. Well, that sounds like that's the amount of time that we have.
That's so great. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was Lady Scratcher. She's
Scratch.
or Lady Scratch. Dang it! I see. I'm
You
want to
scratch her, maybe?
No, I was doing that to her when I was talking. I'm like, Lady Scratch. No, that's Lady Scratch. DJ Lady Scratch. Make sure to check out her Facebook and Instagram. You know, while that interview was going on, Mama BeatHer and I were having conversation about just how rad she is. Like
she was.
The music that she was playing, how it spanned the generations. You know, we're trying to figure out how old she is. Not that that matters or whatever, but she, you know, she took a little bit of music from everywhere.
Well, like she said, playing something that was specific to Scald Eagle while right after a great jam, you know, she noticed that, you know what I mean? Like somebody's going to notice that you do something like that. So,
well, and she didn't just rely on her own musical knowledge as much as she knows. She actually took the time to go to the different teams and say, hey, you know, from your culture or what's specific to you guys or your team or what have you, what do you want to hear? You know, and she went and asked those people, you know, and I give her mad props for that because she was playing to her audience.
Yeah. And,
you know,
and that's what my son, he's been trying to dabble into being a DJ and stuff. And it's a lot of hard work. And that was one thing I was trying to explain to him at the beginning is like, you're going to want to go out there and play your own stuff, but you're not going to get the hype that you want if you're not attending to your crowd because, you know, nobody wants to hear only what you want to listen to, you know, not the whole time anyway. So
maybe you're into one specific thing, but all the people that are wherever you're at playing music for, you know, there's a,
you're not going to go to like a, you know, a punk rock show and play like death metal, you know, and like.
Well, and there, I mean, kind of a side note, part of the conversation that I was having with Lady Scratch prior to all of this, you know, she had been told like play, you know, during the Bitch Please versus Side Eye, there was conversation like play the like the twerky music, the like whatever, and she said, no, is this what they want to hear? Or is this what you think they want to hear?
Yeah.
And so she actually went to the skaters on that team and asked them, what kind of music do you want to hear? So all the music that you heard on all of her playlists, these were skater-specific songs. You know, these were songs that those skaters wanted to hear.
Well, yeah.
And the fact that she took the time to go and figure that out, like, I just... To me, that was rad. I like that. You know, that it wasn't about her. She knew it was about the skaters. She knew that it was about the game and the bout and whatever. And, you know.
That's what I think it takes to be a good DJ, though.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. She's a pretty rad chick. Like, just to
she's
hang
up
out with her.
Jamming out. I was like, during the Side Eye game, that's when I was like, who is this girl busting out all these beats that are rocking the house?
Right.
Because ain't nothing worse than a bout that's silent. Other than the sound of skates, you know.
Right. Well, and the thing, what I like, and I don't know if she had anything to do with this or not, is the level of the music, that how loud it was.
I believe she did.
Yeah, I've gone to bouts where the music's too loud and you can't really hear what's going on as far as like the refs go or like whatever, the skater. And then you have the music too low to where all you hear is the bout. And like maybe you want to, you know, hear a little bit of
I appreciate the music
yeah.
during a bout because I feel like it pumps you up. You know, it's just like not noise. Just you're like,
yeah, right.
It's something to take your mind off everything else that's going on.
Yeah. So let me see. What else do we? So if you want to call in, I know I've talked to a couple of people today. If you want to call in, you could always give us a little call. 909-360-8330. Again, thank you, Mama BeatHer, for coming in here.
You.
I love having you in. It's kind of fun.
I was replaying like how you asked me what my favorite roller derby moment was, and I think I might have forgotten like the most important thing. I got honorable mention at the Rydell Space Jam party for my costume.
That's right.
And won $200.
What was your costume at the Rydell party?
I was Rosie from the Jetsons.
Right. That was
the coolest. I absolutely loved it.
That was the coolest costume.
I felt like paparazzi was on my picture because everybody was like, "Hey, can we get a picture?" And I'm like, "Yes."
You're like, "Yes, you can. Please."
I was
picture.
stoked when we were coming up with those costumes. I just wanted something that was out of the box, you know?
Right.
I almost went with the cone heads, but I did see a couple there because there are some older players who skate derby. So I saw cone heads coming back, but I believe I was the only Rosie.
You were, yeah. See,
I did see Bender, so you know I did see another robot, but hey, that was awesome.
When I again, this was my first year there. I didn't know the intensity of the costumes.
Is serious business, man.
Holy junk. Like the first place, I'm not a sci-fi person, so I know I saw her costume and was like, holy crap, that's a thing. It had like tentacles and like all you can.
Yes.
I'm sure you.
Oh, the winner.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was that from?
She was the opera singer from Fifth Element.
Okay.
So
yeah.
yes, I mean she had her little entourage of Fifth Element characters, and
yeah,
I mean she rocked it. I was just walking through the party, and somebody was like, "Hey, come here. We want you to come over here for a minute." And I was like, "Okay." I'm just having a good old time. And then next thing I know, they're announcing on stage honorable mention and then said Rosie from the Jetsons. And I'm like, well, I didn't see anybody else here that was dressed like that. Are they talking about me?
Right.
And then they slapped 200 crisp $100 bills in my hand. That made the rest of my Vegas trip very nice.
And I thought, again, I didn't realize the intensity of the costume. So I just bought like one of those suits.
My derby wife didn't get it either. I was telling her that there's prizes for first and and second place.
I didn't even get that kind of information because if that had been I booked my ticket for RollerCon back in November. If I was always that like Halloween kid.
Yeah.
I loved Halloween costumes. If I had known that there was like money involved.
Oh yeah.
I would have
money, you can get gear, you can get all sorts of stuff. So
the first place winner, she got $1,000 cash and then like $500 in prizes.
I don't remember exactly.
Something like that. I mean,
I did have it up on my thing earlier. So, because I'm shooting for that first place next year.
You got to go up against me.
I mean, like I said, I wasn't even really trying. I just wanted to go and put some effort into this year's costume. Last year was superhero themed. Me and my husband went as Wonder Woman and Superman. How unoriginal, because you know how many of those there were.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, you step it up, I think. And
right.
If not, you just have fun, and
and that was the thing. Like I went and bought one of those Green Man suits and
oh yeah, the morph suit.
Or the morph suit. Yeah, I quickly realized you can't drink beer when your face is covered.
I found a way.
Well, I was like gonna cut a hole in the mouth. And
I did cut a mouth, and I'm like, thank goodness I cut this. What would I have drank the whole time I was here?
So and like I said, I didn't realize how big of a deal it was. So I was just kind of like, all right, well, this is what I'm going to go as. But
I don't think everybody does, but, I mean, there are some people who get super serious. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I wish I had a little more time to kind of plan my costume and stuff, but I think that's kind of the point,
Dude, your costume was on point. Legit. Like
I got lucky. I had most of the stuff in my closet. But other than that, it was just...
what was the head made out of?
Poster board and spray paint.
Dude, legit?
Yeah, my mom showed me how to make little yarn pom-poms for the end of my antennas.
Oh my god! If you guys, if for the people listening, you need to, I mean, it'll be we'll post it to the Power Jams page. But it was like she put on her superhero costume when she put on that Rosie head.
I did. I like the fact that like nobody knew it was me.
I would have been.
But it's funny. A lot of the girls from my league were like, "Is that Mama?" And I'm like. How do you know? Like, it just seems like something I would do. So, first place earned $1,000 in cash, and then over $5,000 worth of product giveaways.
$5,000?
I don't know if that's over all the winners, or I'm just reading off the RollerCon website that it was $1,000 in cash costume prizes. And over 5,000 worth of product giveaways from Rydell, Powerdyne, and all the others.
Yeah, I got to step my game up for next year.
I'm telling you, like every year, I'm waiting to see. I like posted myself all over the RollerCon website because nobody knew it was me. So I was like, "Look, I won!
I won!
I won something. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if I took third. I just know I got honorable mention and $200.
Well, then that's not third. That's honorable.
I don't
mention.
care. I got cash in my hand.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I get an honorable mention, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll pay a portion of my hotel bill.
Like I said, I wasn't even really trying to shoot for it, where there's people out there, their costumes were rocking though. There were
all the astronauts.
Oh, there's we saw some comical astronauts, and it's amazing how many variations of astronauts you can have too. So
no, I just for whoever is involved with taking care of RollerCon and putting together all the parties. Like, I want to say thank you to Rydell.
Thank you.
When I walked into that party, I went, holy shit.
And I feel like it's been like that every year I've been.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of thought put into it. I know there was a certain theme for the Rydell party that people weren't 100%.
Had to be changed, yeah.
Yeah, it had to be changed. And for them to come up with the theme that they did actually have, that was fun as shit. Like, I had a lot of fun at that.
I was really honestly having a hard time coming up with stuff because I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm not as Trekkie, and I'm like, just like, ugh.
Well,
and
was
then
lazy and just did the morph suit and cut the head off.
I just started scrolling through Pinterest and I saw that costume and I was like, I can rock that. Like, easy thing to make, I mean, I was trying to do it low budget and like we talked about last time, RollerCon's not cheap. So, I'm trying to keep my costume on and down, under a certain amount, and then winning money kind of like,
it paid for your costume.
Yeah, it paid for itself and
bought you some beer afterwards.
Nice bragging rights afterwards,
right?
I mean, everybody was like, I didn't know that was you until you took your head off. So
yeah, I just
definitely have to think of something with better ventilation next year. I was sweating so bad, and I mean, I'm wearing a sweater and nylons and
covered.
I'm telling you, I was just like, if I wouldn't have cut the mouth out, I don't know how. I don't think I'd have lived through the night. I think I would have died of like carbon monoxide.
Probably.
I mean, it was bad. It was pretty bad, even with the holes that I had. So
yeah, the Rydell party was rad. The drag queen show, that was rad. The black and blue
is like the party of all parties.
That's the prom.
It's the prom of RollerCon. It's like if nobody goes to any other party, that's the one they go to.
That's the one that they do go to.
It's like the farewell party.
Yeah, and there was a post that was put up. I can't for the life of me right now remember who it was that said what. But the conversation that had been said was, especially at the black and blue ball, with the roller derby community, we try to pride ourselves on including everybody and not being judgmental and whatever. But when you have a social group like this, it does happen. The black and blue ball, with the amount of women that were there, covered or not, it was kind of a 50-50. You know what I mean? Not once did I hear any body shaming. I didn't hear anybody worrying about, I mean, there was women that were walking around that just were like, this is what I have to work with and this is what you're going to deal with, you know? And it was very freeing. It was one of those situations where any other social situation, it's very easy to be, insecure about your body. Walking around in your bikini or your bathing suit or whatever in front of a bunch of people, and you're just kind of like, I don't know, I'm not okay. I never once felt insecure the entire time.
I don't either. I'm not one to parade in my bathing suit. I went from a sweater and a skirt to my bathing suit.
I would wear kind of like a bathing suit cover, and then I realized why? Nobody gives a crap. Like, who cares? And so, with all of that, whoever posted that about, just being included and not feeling ashamed of who you are. And I'm definitely one. When I first started Derby, it was way before I had children. And so I was a lot
lucky.
I was a lot tinier. I was a lot smaller. And then I had my children, and I kind of went through this phase where, I wasn't really okay with my body. And it took me a couple of years to realize, like, this is my weapon. Like, this is what is taking this person out. This is what I'm doing with this. And so the black and blue ball really just kind of reiterated that.
And it does. I love those girls that are like, just don't give a crap. Because I'm the person that's like, oh no, don't look at me.
Well, and I think it's a social norm in the sense of like, oh, if you don't meet these certain criterias of what your body should look like or whatever, and literally nobody gave a crap. I mean, there was big boobs, there were small boobs.
And I think that's how Derby is, though. We know that all women come in every shape, every size.
Yeah.
I mean, that girl who is super skinny, like, doesn't necessarily want to be skinny. And it's like, yeah, well, I don't want to be a little plump, but, it's the way it works. But
I'm a little on the
when
chunky
you see
side,
somebody who is either bigger or smaller than you, and they're out there like, no shits. None given. It gives you a little more confidence because I know, like I said, I'm not one to parade around in my bathing suit, but at the black and blue, it was just like, well, if this chick has enough confidence to do it, you know, why shouldn't I? And, you know, and like you said, nobody's passing judgment.
It didn't matter the body type. It could have been like the skinniest to somebody who is, you know, a super plus size.
Yeah.
0 Fs were given.
I think that's like the one thing in roller derby. Like I never have seen that where somebody's like, oh my God, look how big this girl is, or look how skinny she is. And it's like,
no, when you see that girl who's maybe a little bit bigger, you're like, holy.
She must hit hard. That's what I think.
But then you see the tiniest of tinies and you're like, God dang it.
You know what? And I've underestimated a couple skinny girls in my lifetime where I'm like, oh, this little tiny chick, what's she going to do? And they have nailed me. And I'm like, where are they getting all that power from?
Yeah.
You know, I got more weight in my thigh than you do. And yet you just took me off the track, you know? So
yeah. Like I said,
that's one reason why I love derby, because it's we don't put each other down, you know what I mean? And I feel like,
it does happen.
It does. I mean, but I've seen it
I'm
very few in, I think, this sport versus other ones where we are really there to build each other up. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we're all doing this together. We're all, you know, probably not thinking we're the best skater out there, but there's always